Hi, everybody. I'm Larry Jacobs. This is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio, and it is May 8th, 2024. Thanks for being with us today. We've been trying to put together this show for a couple of weeks. We had a tech glitch the first time we tried to do it. Then Courtney got called away for the second time, etc. We finally got it together. I've got Courtney Walker here from NASSP. She is their Assistant Principal of the Year, and she's the Assistant Principal at Carrollton High School, which I assume is in Carrollton, Georgia, but we're going to find out. And she's the 2024 NASSP, National Association of Secondary School Principals, National Assistant Principal of the Year. So congratulations, Courtney. I'm going to bring you on in just a second. We're going to talk about leadership, all the things you put together, et cetera, and it's just wonderful. Congrats to everybody else who was part of the so-called contest, but Courtney won. We got the winner here for you. Okay, this is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio. We're part of the American Consortium for Equity in Education. We're going to archive the show over at ace-ed.org, ace-ed.org. And I do invite you to go over there and check it out, because over there we just put out our new issue, which is the Equity Awards issue. It honors all the educators that won the awards this year. It's really a nice issue, and they deserve a lot of kudos and credit and all that. We tried to give it to them. The more people that go over, check it all out, the happier we are, the happier they are, the happier you'll be. You can sign up for next year's. Over there, you'll find all the information at ace-ed.org, plus a ton of other information, all the podcasts, et cetera, et cetera. So please check it all out, ace-ed.org. And without further ado, heading down from Maine, where I am, down to Georgia. Good morning, Courtney. It's Larry here.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm just fine, as a matter of fact. It's so good to connect with you. We tried like 3 times, okay? And
Absolutely.
So the 4th time in this case is a charm. Okay, it's a pleasure to have you. Was I right? Is it Carrollton, Georgia? Was I right?
Yes, Carrollton, Georgia. That's correct.
And where is it?
It's right on the Alabama line, actually. We're about 60 miles west of Atlanta, right on the Georgia-Alabama line.
Oh, I'll be doing right on Route 20. Is it
yes.
kind of right there? Oh, I'll be doing. I've actually been there, but I didn't know I was in Carrollton. Okay, good enough. Wow, cool. How long have you been assistant principal there?
5 years.
Wow, congratulations. And now, is there a movement? Are you going to do a coup d'etat and get rid of the principals with armed stuff and all that sort of thing?
No, we love him.
Brooms and
Absolutely
sticks.
Not. We love him.
Who's your principal? Let's give him credit.
Mr. Ian Lyle.
Say it again.
He's been Mr. Ian Lyle. He's been with us. He's been our principal for about 3 years, and he was an assistant principal with us prior to that. So he's been on our admin team for a while. Yes, sir. Wow,
that's great. And he deserves congratulations for great leadership, as do you, okay? It's really just wonderful, okay? Okay, it really is cool. I got to tell you something, okay? It's just pretty neat. What are your responsibilities as assistant principal? Obviously, there's more than one assistant principal, because Mr. Lyle was one. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Tell me about the assistant principalship there.
Yes, so we have 7 admin on our team. We have a very large administrative team. All of our duties and responsibilities, we kind of have our own lane, but we definitely overlap when needed. My particular responsibilities, I've transitioned into the teaching and learning role. I've done curriculum and guidance for the last 3 years. Prior to that, I was the administrator over testing, attendance, and special ed, and now I'm working over the teaching and learning aspect, so I get to have hands-on with school improvement initiatives. I'll oversee remedial and gifted supports for students, and then we also have a pretty heavy hand in master scheduling and making sure that we provide customized schedules for students that meet their specific needs. Yeah, it's very neat. And then anything that happens in the classroom.
It really is. And I should have asked you, we know where Carrollton is. Tell us about the high school. Okay, brag a little. What's the mascot? How many kids go, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, talk about the place. Yeah.
We have about 1,800 students at our high school. We are a single high school within our district. We're a city school district. And so all of our schools are actually on one big campus.
Nice.
We have an elementary school, an upper elementary school, a middle school, and then, of course, our high school. And so most of our students start and are Trojans from pre-K forward, but none of our students are outside of our district. And so they
they're all Trojans. They're all Trojans.
That's right.
There you go. I got it already. See? It's cool.
But, yeah, it's a special place with very diverse student body. Approximately 40% white and Caucasian, about 30% African American,
nice.
15 to 18% Hispanic, and then about 4 to 5% are other. Yes, sir.
That's a pretty nice mix. I got to tell you, that's a beautifully diverse area. I got to tell you,
yes,
that's very
absolutely.
good. It's really, really good. Okay. How long were you a teacher there before you became an administrator?
I was not. So originally I started out in elementary education. I taught 6 years. Yes, I taught 4th grade for 6 years and loved what I did. And then I was coaching high school cheerleading at the same time at the high school that my elementary school fed to. And so an opportunity opened up for me to move into their CTAE program, where I got to teach early childhood education and teaching as a profession to high school kids that wanted to pursue education for a career. So it was really great. I spent half my day in elementary schools watching high school kids learn how to teach, and then the other half of the day I spent really teaching high school kids about how kids develop and how their brain works and how they learn in the classroom. So it was a great experience. I did that for 4 years before I moved into administration at Carrollton.
I've done thousands of these podcasts, okay, literally, okay, and because I've been doing them for a long time. No one's ever talked to me about a program like that, ever, okay?
Yes,
that is real.
It was a great experience.
Like you grow your own program, and I have to tell you, there's a shortage of teachers out there. We all know that, all right? And to assign somebody to actually teach what it's like to be a teacher, teach them teaching how to do it, and give them the experience. I never heard of that before. Is that wow? When you first found out about that, how long have they been doing that? That's pretty cool. That's a neat program.
I taught it. Yes, great. So I taught it for 4 years when I was at a different district, and then when I came here, we started the program here as well. So, yeah, it's been great. And I'll tell you, one of the coolest things is to see my high school kids now who are starting teaching jobs. We have several kids that are in my district that have come up, and getting to see them and interview former students. It's a great experience.
It really is. And, of course, for the kids, the most fun thing is when they can stop calling you, I don't know if that's Mrs. or Ms., or I'll say Ms., when they can stop calling you Ms. Walker and start calling you Courtney. That's one of the more fun things.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
and it is weird when that happens. I got to tell you, it's just so much fun. We got to say, that's really cool. It's a great background for what you do. It really is. Talk about some of the initiatives and strategies that Mr. Lyle and you have worked on, okay, that really made an impact on the school culture. And by the way, I'm going to say it again, I love the diversity aspect of your school. Okay, it's fantastic. Talk about school culture.
Sure. So one of the things that's very important to Mr. All and to me as well is making sure that we're incorporating student and teacher voice in what we're doing. And so 3 years ago, when we both transitioned into these roles, we started building our school improvement plan collaboratively with our leadership team. And so we typically take our leadership team off campus for a day during the summer. We feed them because, that's always important when you're asking teachers to come into a meeting, especially during the summer. But we spend the morning looking at all of the data from the previous year, discipline data, attendance data, and, of course, student achievement data. And we go back and review a lot of the events that we do, school initiatives, and we really analyze those to see, are there things that need to be tweaked or added, or things that we need to stop altogether. And so our team works together in the afternoon after looking at that data to really develop a working school improvement plan. And then we take that school improvement plan. We don't just stick it on a shelf and, put a checkbox that it was done. We revisit that throughout the school year every month at our monthly leadership meetings. And out of those conversations, one of the things that teachers were saying to us was, hey, we feel like our professional development is a one-size-fits-all approach. And if you guys are asking us to differentiate for our students, like we want the same thing for our professional learning. So we took that team of teachers and developed a plan to do professional learning pathways. So our teachers take a needs assessment at the beginning of the school year, and they select a pathway that aligns with what they feel like is an area for growth. They're aligned with our Georgia teacher evaluation standards, but they're also aligned with our district initiatives for improving literacy and building relationships. And so those pathways are not led by consultants or outside professionals. We use our teachers as the expert in the building. So we identify teachers to lead those initiatives. And so it's really turned in from just a one-size whole group kind of thing to our teachers really getting an opportunity to sit down in small groups across disciplines and content areas and talk about strategies that are really working in their classrooms.
And, I'm going to bring up something because one of the big challenges we have out there are teacher shortages and teacher retention. And you know that. But to get the teachers so very involved in their professional learning and their futures, et cetera, et cetera. How's things with teacher retention, teacher shortages in Carrollton in the high school? How we doing? I imagine you're doing pretty well.
We are. So since we've changed our approach to professional learning, and we've also increased teacher leadership by putting in, we call them common course teams, which are professional learning communities that are within content areas. We have teacher leaders identified for those as well. Since we've increased teacher leadership in our building, our teacher retention rates have improved almost 10% in 3 years.
That's wonderful.
Congrats. Yes, we have very little turnover. We have a wonderful staff and phenomenal teachers, and they're important part of what we do. This year we've really taken it another step further to look. One of our other assistant principals, Ms. Sanders, really heads up what we call our Trojan Gold team. She works with a team of teachers to figure out ways to make our teachers feel very special throughout the school year, things that we can do to celebrate them. With it being Teacher Appreciation Week this week, we've done lots of different initiatives, beach towels for the summer that have Trojan emblems on them, and food trucks for our teachers. And Monday we kicked off the day with posters with notes, to the teachers from all of our students. So it really is all of us kind of working together to figure out how to make sure teachers are supported so that they can support the needs of students.
That is very nice. Okay, and it's so important these days. I have to tell you, it's just great that you're working on that. I'm very impressed with this school and the culture that you guys have built for your educators. We always talk in terms of the students, and I know you're doing a good job there. But when we got to talk about it in terms of the educators too. We can't afford to lose a teacher, and it costs so much money to replace them, to find them, to train them, et cetera, et cetera. When you put that money into retaining them, okay, and all the efforts into retaining them, it makes a real difference. Okay, I have to ask you this. We're in this crazy post-pandemic era, and you read the news like I do, and you know what's going on: student mental health, SEL. You can go right down the whole list. What are the challenges that are popping up in Carrollton, which is really a great, a mid-America place? The way you've described it, a mid-sized city, a southern city, a nice, diverse student body. What are the challenges that have popped up over the past year or so?
I think mental health is definitely something that permeates across our country right now. We want to make sure that we're responsive to that. And so we have restructured the way that we're serving students in our guidance department. We've added an additional administrator this year that is specific to mental health support. She was a high school counselor with us previously, and so she's moved into an admin role just to support the mental health front with our team. And then we've restructured our caseloads so that one of our counselors has a background in clinical therapy, and so we are utilizing him in that role specifically, looking at different group activities with students that need some support for anxiety and stress. He's talked about looking at us really pushing next year for developing some grief and loss groups that can have some small group support. And then our other counselors are really kind of redistributed to make sure we're supporting that. We have a what we call is PASS. It's Partners Advancing Student Success. It's actually a community-based support, but we have someone on our staff specific to that, so they help allocate community resources for students in need, be it food or clothing or covering the cost of senior dues for prom. We're trying to alleviate some of that stress as well. Yeah. But I think attendance continues to be a hurdle, right? Looking at a balance between making sure we're offering, some initiatives to get students back on campus and wanting to be here. I think that was the biggest thing we saw after COVID is students really wanting, getting comfortable staying at home, and us really making sure that we have a balance, that we want them to know that we want them here with us in school. We believe that teacher-student relationship is critical to their success.
It really is. And student-student relationship is critical to their success. Kids have to socialize. All right,
absolutely.
They have to get used to the world, and it's just so darn important. And you really got the act. I have to say something. You must have a wonderful school board. You're getting all this stuff done. It's really good leadership all the way through the community. I got to tell you.
Thank you. We really do. They are very supportive of anything that we ask for. If we, can show that it's in the best interest of students, they are 100% supportive of that. Both our board and our superintendent.
That is wonderful to hear. I have to tell you. Talk about, and it's kind of the same, the next part of the conversation. I know you've done a lot of work with this, and I know you care about this, and that's student leadership. Okay, student leadership. Talk about that. And that's key. You got to get the kids involved. If the kids aren't involved, if the culture isn't right, if they're not engaged, they want to stay home. Okay?
That's
so
right.
we want to get them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can talk about it. Yeah, go ahead.
So we really just want to make sure that kids have a place to be plugged in. We know that kids are more motivated when they're pursuing things that they're very passionate about. Our first step with that is really looking at scheduling. We've had students that have come down and ask, some of what might feel like a crazy request. We want to make sure that we honor and dig in to see how we can support that. So last year we had a kid that came down and said, hey, I really want to get my pilot's license. I know this is what I want to do next year after I graduate. And so we contacted the West Georgia Regional Airport and said, can we set up an internship? And so they said, absolutely. And so we try to make sure we're finding ways for kids to step out in the curriculum in a way for them to lead after they graduate. But while they're here, we also want to honor the things that they're very passionate about as well. And so if a student comes to me, my goal is to remove the barriers, right? And so that's for kids and for the adults. And so I've had several students the last couple of years that have come in and said, hey, we would like to start a club for Bring Change to Mind. And so we talked through a mental health support club. And so really looking at helping them find a sponsor and a place to make sure they have a resources and a place to meet. And if they're very passionate about things that they want to pursue, we want to make sure that we're responsive to that. So just finding places for them to get plugged in, places for them to lead, working with their families to make sure that they have support outside of school to pursue some of those things. A lot of our kids, we have a full IB program here, International Baccalaureate program for our students. And through that process, a lot of our kids do service learning and community-based projects because they connect to what they're learning in the classroom about global mindedness and being aware and compassionate for others. And so we've had students who've raised thousands of dollars for the local child advocacy center in our area. We've had students do silent art auctions and donating money, and so we want to make sure that we give them the space and the resources to do that.
Right. You guys are doing a good job down there. I got to tell you, it's a good place. I want to ask you this, and this is key to us. I said at the beginning of the show, we're the American Consortium for Equity in Education. All right. And you have helped, okay, and this is important. I got this note here. Okay, from an NASSP, you really helped close equity gaps in enrollment in advanced coursework. And I got to tell you, I received word we're going to do a show on it from the Fordham Institute, the Thomas B. Fordham Institute, and they just put out a whole report, okay, on the fact that kids that advanced placement is not as equitable as it should be, okay, and they were trying to find ways to do it. We're going to do a show on that. okay? And you're on top of this, and I want you to talk about that, advanced placement, equity, et cetera, et cetera. Go ahead, Courtney. You did a good job on that,
So
I'm
that's
sure.
definitely,
That's cool.
That's definitely a place that we're still working to improve on. I think that us being very intentional in the way that we register students for classes has been helpful in that. We utilize AP puts out a program called AP Potential that looks at their scores on PSAT or SAT tests and tells, which AP courses would be a good fit for those students. We use that with our teachers to help identify students. And we really push making sure we're playing to student strengths, getting away from the idea that a kid has to be an honor student across all areas and really looking at places we can push and challenge them in places of strength. And so we have students that are pushing, academic success and academic rigor early on in 8th grade. And so we've started a registration process that's really developed, has kind of turned into a well-oiled machine for our guidance department. But we meet with every single rising 9th grade student and their family before they come to us. We go over to the middle school. We set up for a week in their media center, and we meet with individual families to talk about courses that are the right fit, and looking at test scores that they've had and having the conversations with parents about rigor and getting them prepared for college. And so that has really helped us kind of fine-tune that process.
How long have you been doing that?
So that was in place before I got here. Place before I got here. We've been doing that for a long time. I think the places that we've really kind of helped leverage in the last few years is being intentional to do things like we have our 8th graders come and tour our high school and meet with our teachers and see our students in action. And so we have moved those tours to the fall before students pick classes, and it's getting them over here to look at all the options that they have so they can make really well-informed decisions. And our teachers are crucial in that because they open their doors throughout the building, let kids come in, questions. This year I saw a student walking away with an honors biology packet because they just wanted to see what were the kids working on in class. And so it's been a great way for us to connect with the kids before they get here and really get them invested in the learning.
Yeah, and I loved what you, that's great, by the way, and I love what you said about, a kid doesn't have to be perfect in every subject to be an honor student. All right, and that's always something that's always kind of bugged me in the back of my mind, that we want people to be. Now, not everybody's perfect in everything, but you go to where you are good. Okay, that's the way you kind of choose your profession at the end, as a matter of fact. All right, and it's just important to recognize that, and I thought that was a very important comment. As we do that. So, what was it like to win the award? How'd you find out you won the award? Madam National Assistant Principal of the Year. How'd you find out? What happened?
I will tell you, it was the most humbling experience I probably ever had in my professional career. We traveled to Trailblazing Leadership Week in Washington, D.C., which is an event that NASSP puts on. And throughout the week, every state had a representative there, and these are some of the most innovative, incredible leaders I've ever met. Just the things that they're
saying the same thing about you, so don't worry about it. They're saying the same thing about you guys. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, they are.
I'll tell you what was really great about the week is they combined the week with not just school leaders, but also the National Honor Society finalists for their major scholarship. And being able to sit and listen to kids talk about their experiences with school and what they need from school administrators was the highlight for me. But they do a gala that Friday, and so we had a chance to sit down, all of us in the room together, and the kids got their awards first, which was really neat to see their reactions and excitement. But they also had reached out to my superintendent, and so he snuck in the back and flew in, and which was a great surprise, and called out on stage, and he met me up there. So it was a great experience.
Right. Who's your superintendent?
Dr. Mark Albertus.
Well, congratulations, Mark. You too. All right. We talked about principals.
Wonderful.
Superintendent. That's so nice to hear. I got to tell you, it's really, really good. I mean, you are an excellent educator. That's all I can say, Courtney. Okay, you deserve your award.
Thank you.
Okay, and you work at a good school. I mean, I talked to a lot of schools here and a lot of school districts, and the things you talked about today are really exceptional. You should be proud of all the stuff you folks have put together. You deserve the award. You deserve the award. That's all I can tell you. Okay, so let me just ask one final question here. In Carrollton, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, who has the best ribs? Should I ever get down there?
Oh, goodness.
Come on.
Best ribs. Oh, gosh. I'll have to think about that one.
All right.
There's a little barbecue joint in the neighboring city, Bowden, which is about 5 minutes from us. It's actually my hometown, but there's a little barbecue joint, Smoking Pig Barbecue. They're the best.
That sounds good. Okay, that just sounds good. I got to tell you. Okay, it's terrific. It's nice. So nice. Thank you for being here, Courtney. It's so nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. You're welcome here anytime. And continued good fortune, good luck. You got a great school down there. They deserve you, and you deserve them. So it works. Okay. Thanks, Courtney.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Courtney Walker, everybody. Carrollton High School, Carrollton, Georgia. This year's NASSP winning a National Assistant Principal of the Year. Congratulations to you. Well deserved. A good school, good administrator, good school board, good community, good place. Okay, so thanks, Courtney. And NASSP, I appreciate it. Got a little link here. We're going to archive the show at ace-ed.org. My name is Larry Jacobs. Thanks for listening.